welcome back to
Ami's house.
very special edition, special episode. I'm your host, Ami Kozak, joined by my co-host, Michael Weber. Today we have in studio Maya and Dvir Rosenfeld. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us, guys. Good morning.
Good morning, our pleasure.
It's an honor.
Yes, it is. I want to just start with a little introduction of just saying that, you know, for us here, for Jews in the diaspora outside of Israel, and I'm maybe even in Israel now, and you know, there's this temptation post October 7th that as the different phases of grief go on, that normal life wants to capture us and pull us back in. And I don't want to let that happen. I want to leave the stories and maintain the stories as front of mind, stories about hostages, the stories of what occurred on October 7th. There is this sort of human instinct to just want to go back into the motions of things. And while I think that's important in some respects, I think it's equally important that while doing that, you don't forget these things and you keep these stories front and center, especially as the pain is still ongoing and there's still a war being fought. So I'm going to just let you take the floor and tell a little bit of your story of what occurred on October 7th for you.
We live in kibbutz Kfar Aza.
Mm-hmm.
I've born there. My family still live there. My parents, us, three of my sisters. Between us, we have 9 nephews, cousins. We just came back less than 48 hours before everything started from a family trip in South Africa. Friday, the day before, we had the chance to celebrate my mother's birthday, all of us together, all the family. And Saturday morning, we woke up to literally hell. We woke up early. And the rocket started at around 6:30. In the beginning, we didn't really understand what's going on because it started just like any other escalation. Escalation is something that we called to when one of the organizations, the terror organizations in Gaza, decided to shoot rockets into Israel. On us, basically, because we live less than 3 kilometers from Gaza.
Yeah, but it was, at the past few years, it wasn't just on us. It was already on large parts of Israel.
Yeah.
And this happened like a few times a year.
So you were used to this, just rocket fire on a...
The rockets, you're not used to anything.
Yeah.
But it's something that happened. Like the escalation happened a few times a year. It can, like, our son is 40. He was 11 months at that time, and that was his second time. And that the one before was when he was in my, like, I think I was
8th.
I was pretty far pregnant.
I just mean to say it's something you thought you had experienced before, this rocket fire.
Yeah.
So there was a familiarity to it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
In the past 20-something years.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I have to say that straight from the beginning, the amount of the rockets was something
different, yeah.
Very different. And even Dvir, that usually has like answers for... I'm usually the one that's getting stressed out, and Dvir has the answers for everything. Usually he won't even always come to the safe room. But this time... straight away, he said, well, this is something different.
That's an Israeli husband for you. I want to have the answers. My wife knows it's not me. Calls my brother-in-law or something, but it's never me. But yes. Okay. So you notice that this feels something like a different level of attack.
Yeah, it's rocket-wise because of the amount. It was very intense. It was like all the time, non-stop.
Like usually we have a break for the rocket that you can go very quickly. You pack a bag, you go someplace, you go north, you go to friends. This time there was no stop. We called friends. We told them, listen, whenever there's going to be a break, we'll come to you. Some friends up north, but there was no break. It didn't stop for a second.
You were gonna like leave. Like,
Yeah.
you go to a
Yeah, just
different
pack your
place, a whole
bag,
different
jump
pla-
into your car,
yeah.
drive wherever you have family, friends,
Yeah.
stay there for a few days, up to a week or two, and when everything comes down, you go back home.
Yeah.
It's like the weather in that part of Israel. People are like, used to bad weather here in Israel. They're like, yeah, we're getting attacked, so we know what to do.
Yeah, yeah.
But this was just, you're saying it was just constant.
Constant,
Wow.
constant, yeah. So Maya took Ziv, our son, to the safe room in order to start packing, and I went out to bring the dogs. We have two dogs. One of them was on a leash, so I took her inside, but the other one ran away. He was free, and probably because of the explosions, he just disappeared. He ran away. I went out to our garden to call him, and for about 10 minutes I shouted his name, and he didn't come back. So I got inside. I left our front door wide open.
I remember you telling me, because usually the dogs, they get scared from the bombs, so they run away, and you sometimes can't find them for a long time. And Dvir came back and told me, well, now because of that stupid dog, we won't be able to go north because he won't come back. We'll have to go look for him. Like, we had no idea what's going on.
And just left the front door open, so if he come back, he can get inside. And went inside to the safe room with Maya and Ziv to start packing. And by the way, like around 3 weeks later, all of our kibbutz is displaced, and most of our community is in Shfaim now, kibbutz Shfaim. So we've met there one of our neighbors, and he was so happy to see us. And he said, like, I can't believe I see you. Like, I was sure that you're gone. And like, we didn't understand what he was talking about back then. He told us that that morning he was also outside, and he saw me shouting, calling the dog. And when he got inside back to his safe room and came to close the metal window, 30 seconds, even less, it took him from being outside to get into the safe room and close the window. He saw 5 terrorists in our garden, right where I stood. And he was sure that we're gone. And I want to believe that the stupid dog saved our lives because probably they thought that someone was there inside our house already.
Like, they saw the open door.
So you had left the door open, you were in the safe room, so they thought someone had already gotten to his house,
Exactly.
and
And
the
just
terrorists did not pursue you.
Skipped our
That's
house
what we
and
think, right? We may never know. Because
Yeah.
they loot all of our warehouse. But at least they didn't come into the house.
It's like the blood on the door in Egypt.
Exactly.
Like, just pass over that
Yeah,
one.
exactly.
Wow.
then Maya started to get all kinds of messages on the WhatsApp group of the girls.
Yeah. They started to send, like, a few girls started to write that they can hear Arabic outside their window and gunshots outside the window. Now, this is something that not only that it never happened, it's something that we thought can't happen. We had this thing called the obstacle that was a very sophisticated defense mechanism that was supposed to prevent, like, it considered to be impossible to cross the border from Gaza to Israel.
Not with tunnels and not above, not through.
Impenetrable. Yeah.
So when someone writes something like this is your greatest fear, and this is something, like you said, you were used to it. So we were used to the bombs, but
I think it's something that we were willing to pay in order to live there.
Yeah, because it was really paradise. Yeah. But the part of people coming into your kibbutz is something that it was, I think, everybody's greatest fear, but something everybody, like, they kept on telling us it will never happen. It can't happen. So when she wrote that, I told it to Dvir, and he immediately said, no, it can't be. They're just stressing out. But I think even before I finished his sentence, we started to hear right outside our window Arabic and gunshots, automatic weapons.
And explosions.
Yeah.
And then we realized that it's a whole different story now. And they're actually in the kibbutz, just outside of our house and all over. And the explosions, some of the explosions that we've heard was basically hand grenades, RPGs. And we used to say in our kibbutz that it's 95% heaven and 5% hell. Because when it's quiet, it's heaven. It's amazing. It's a piece of piece of heaven, paradise. Everything is green and all the fields around, and the kids are walking just by themselves, and we never locked our doors or our cars, and you just leave things outside. Everyone grew up with everyone. Our community was around the 900 people, so you know everyone. Everyone knows you. Even the kids. Like I remember when my friends used to come with kids. Tell them, no worries. If your kids will get lost, someone will just take a picture and will ask in the WhatsApp group of the kibbutz.
Who does it belong to?
Yeah, who it belong to. So no worries. And then
Belongs to all of us. Don't worry.
So I went outside to, straight away to lock the door. But then we realized that we don't even have the key to our house.
Yeah, we never locked the door.
We never locked the door. I found after a good few minutes, like this rusty key that we've left under one of the plants somewhere, and we managed to lock the door. And then the electricity fell very quickly, like after 15-20 minutes. So we were stuck in the safe room. And when I say safe room, it's not like a panic room or underground shelter like you have here, just like another room in the house made of concrete.
Maybe even smaller than this room.
It's even smaller than this room, this studio. And
it was our baby's room. It was just a baby's room. It had a baby crib, like a chair that you can sit and breastfeed,
right.
And shelves of toys, a closet, and that's it.
Even that is something I think general world doesn't really understand. In Israel, it's like a multi-purpose room, and it's common. Every building, every house, apartment have these built-in safe rooms that can double as anything.
It's usually just one of the kids' room, especially where we live, because if it will happen in the middle of the night, you don't have to wake the kids up and move them to the safe room. They can just stay sleeping in there. And also our kids are being raised as when you're in the safe room, you're safe. Nothing can happen to you. If you're in the safe room, it will protect you, which is now a very big problem for the parents, because a lot of the kids have seen now that it's not so safe in the safe room. And they are asking very hard questions. The bigger kids are asking very hard questions. And the parents need to deal with
some of the parents heard very hard things from their kids. Like, you lied to me. You told me it's safe, it.
We're lucky that our kid is young enough, so he won't remember anything. He was 11 months at that time. But he was with us the whole time. We will tell the story, but we were in our safe room for almost 24 hours before the IDF came and took us to another place. And the whole time it was like, straight away it was a battlefield. We were in the middle of a battlefield. Things kept exploding on our wall. We heard gunshots on the window. They were shouting right outside our window. We smelled this burnt smell from outside.
But you had just forgive me, you had left the door open and you had been hearing Arabic outside and gunshots and RPGs. And at that point, you just went to your safe room. And for the next 24 hours, you were in there. Can you hear from outside the safe room?
Everything I told you now, you hear from the safe room.
Okay.
You can just hear. You can't see anything. So you're basically blind. You hear everything that's going on outside, and you have no idea what's really going outside. And you smell the burnt smell. We kept on smelling a burnt smell.
And we also didn't have electricity. So we were sitting there with no lights, no aircon. Of course, it's just a room and not like a shelter that are prepared to these kind of things.
Yeah.
So with no water, no food, no power banks, we couldn't charge our phones. Just sitting, three of us, sitting. We weren't sitting. I was standing for 20 hours holding the door.
Yeah.
And Maya held Ziv for 20 hours straight. Just like in the Holocaust, a dummy in the mouth, her hand on his mouth so he won't cry and won't make any noises.
I don't know if they had dummies in the Holocaust.
Probably not.
But I mean, are you in touch with other members of the kibbutz, checking in? How is that going?
Yeah. First, it was in our close family WhatsApp group, and also with our friends all over. And again, like everyone knows everyone, and everyone were in touch. And we start to get those crazy messages on the WhatsApp groups.
Crazy. Like the WhatsApp groups, I think if you look away for a minute and look back, you will have 100 messages.
And crazy messages like, my husband got shot. He's lying under this tree, needs help. My wife got shot in the head. She's dying in front of the kids. They put my house on fire. What can I do? Please help. A
lot of SOS messages. A lot of please somebody help. Come and help us. They're here. One of the moms from our son's daycare kept on asking for someone to come and save her husband. He was in the first response unit, and she kept on saying he's dying outside, which is
he's bleeding, basically, sitting and bleeding.
And he's like 50 meters from our home, and you just can't go anywhere. You have these crazy messages. We tried to do whatever we could. We forwarded the messages to... We have friends in the Secret Service and in the IDF, so we just forwarded the message to whoever we can. But we kept on getting the same answers, that they're trying, they're doing their best. There's many forces that are coming to the kibbutz and that are working in the kibbutz, but the situation is very complicated, and it's going to take time.
Did you feel like an impulse to go out, to leave and like help, or were you decided I have to stay here?
You really want to go out to help, but first, you don't know what's going on outside. Second, you look at your wife and your baby, and you understand that this is your duty right now. I admire the 12 guys from our kibbutz that were the first response team, because basically they are civilians that volunteered to this unit. And when it all happened, they all jumped out to protect us, protect the kibbutz, and left their wives and their kids in the safe room.
They saved us.
They saved us, yeah. 7 of them died, got shot. 3 of them got seriously injured. And only 2 of them were standing on their feet. And when we realized the amount of the tourists, only like a week or 2 afterwards, that were in the kibbutz, it was unbelievable. They were, from the beginning, they had no chance because there were 12 against around the 400. Like the Zaka, the organization, they told us that they collected more than 250 bodies of terrorists around the kibbutz, only in our kibbutz. So you think about it and you say, like, I admire them, like those people and the soldiers and the civilians that just voluntarily jumped into the kibbutz to try to help without even know what's going on inside. They saved us, It's like, it's crazy.
But Dvir wanted to go out.
We started to chat on our family WhatsApp group, and in the beginning everyone answered, and very quickly we realized that one of my sisters, Hadar, and her husband are not replying. And their last message was around 5 minutes to 7, and she wrote how delighted I am to be stuck in the safe room with 2 full diapers, because she had twins, 2 baby twins, 10-month-old that time. And we tried to write her, both of them, and they didn't reply. And somewhere around the noon time, we got a message from her neighbor, which was one of the 2 guys from the first response team that were still on their feet. And he told us that he's sorry. He saw the front door open, an empty AK-47 magazine on the stairs, a Kalashnikov, and that he hears that the twins are crying. He couldn't help because every time he tried to get in, they shot at him.
From the house?
From the house. And from the rooftops
the
around the house.
in their house.
And at that point, and then again, we sent everyone we knew from the IDF, the police, the Secret Service, the Shabak, of course, locations of the house, and our house, my other sister's house, Adar's house, and my parents' house. And after like 10 hours or so, we got this phone call from one of Maya's friends, and from the Shabak, and he told us, "Look, guys, it's so complicated. You have so many terrorists in the kibbutz. Prepare to spend the night in your safe room." Then we realized that, what's going outside is crazy. Again, we didn't know the amount, the scale of it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Did you know that it was only happening in Kfar Aza?
No, I knew
Okay,
that it's
alright.
going on everywhere.
Okay.
We
Very
saw
early in the morning, we saw a video. Somebody sent us the video of the terrorists in Sderot.
Mhm.
At the beginning, we thought it's fake. And we already knew about... the news came, but it came wrong. Like, they told us that our friends are kidnapped from Nahal Oz. They said that the wife and the two daughters are kidnapped. But at the end, it's the dad that's kidnapped. Or
It's the
You
fog
got-
of war. Yeah,
you
it was
got
all a
these
mess.
messages.
we knew it's all over.
And I think somebody told us, like, I remember somebody wrote me a message that the Gaza envelope has been occupied. So we knew. And also they told us, when they said that help is coming, they said, listen, you have to understand there's a complex situation in Be'eri. We're moving a lot of forces to Be'eri now. And I told them, like, what do you mean a complex situation in Be'eri? I'm with my baby in the middle of a battlefield.
And what do you mean you're moving forces?
What are you talking about?
With what you have, you can't protect us. So now you take half of the forces to bury. So we knew it's all over. And in some point, I
You had a
realized...
sense of the chaos.
Yeah.
That it was
And we
chaos.
also had some friends that were at the Nova Festival, and they kept on telling us, like, they tried, luckily they survived, and they tried to get back home to their kids. And they couldn't. They had to go to another place, and they kept on talking to us that we knew.
Yeah.
It's a very small area, so...
And also everyone knows
Friends.
everyone.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of connective tissue between all the different kibbutz. It seems somebody knows somebody there, so there's
Yeah.
people are. So you got a sense pretty quickly
Yeah.
that this was going on, not just locally, but
In a certain
But
point, I started to get messages from families that were living in the other side of the kibbutz. And in my head, I already knew the route of how I'm going to get to my sister's house in like 2 or 3 minutes to pick up the twins and to come back. And I told it to Maya, and she was like, she was looking at me. It's like,
Yeah, he told me I'm going to get the twins. Like, going back to your question, he said, okay. It was, since we heard that they're crying, that the door is open and they're crying, I think up to that moment, we were very worried about Adar and Itai, but we tried, there was a very strong denial mechanism. And from that point, I think we knew, okay, somebody needs to take care of the twins now. Like, they're crying there. We don't know if they're alone, what's going on there. They're 2 babies. They're alone for a long time. So we just kept on sending their location and trying to get someone to get there. And when no one, like when we didn't get any answer that someone is on the way, Dvir, like, all of a sudden told me, I'm going to get the twins.
and Maya told me, it's a suicide mission. There is no way we're going. If we'll go, so Ziv will grow up with no father, and they will grow up with no uncle. And again, it's a suicide mission. You're not going anywhere, which was very hard to hear it. And I'm sure it was very hard to say it, but it was the right thing to do and the right thing to say. Basically, I think it's one of the reasons that, at least me, sitting here, if not both of us.
I think that day, everyone had to make very hard choices.
Yeah.
And also, you didn't know if you're doing the right choice or not. Like, when I said that to Dvir, I didn't know whether or not the twins will survive. I didn't know what's going on with Dvir's sister and her husband. I didn't know if he will ever forgive me for saying that. Like, after saying that, I remember it much more. Like, I remember just telling him, no, this kid is not going to grow up without a dad. But I remember, like, we stayed there for long hours that I kept asking myself, is he okay with what are we okay? I don't know if we're okay.
We didn't really talk through it all the way, all along, the whole time. Here and there, of course, but it's not like you do this, I'll do that. Like, each and every one of us knew exactly what he's supposed to do, and it was very simple back then. It was like we were 2 missions: door closed and baby quiet. That's it.
I tell you what we did talk about. getting out, getting out of the safe room. Like at some point, Dvir told me, I'm going to go to the bathroom. Ziv fell asleep. He told me, I'm going to go to the bathroom. No, you can't. It's dangerous. And he said, no, I'm going to go. So I told him, okay, so I'm coming with you. And then like we kept on laughing that it's so us to be murdered on the toilet or something like this.
Oh, God. Of all the places to get murdered. He's like, trust me, I got to go to the bathroom. You don't want me in here. The safe room is uncomfortable enough as it is.
Yeah.
Let me do
And
this
it's
over
also,
there.
it's closed, it's sealed, it's hot.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, the room was
You
impossible.
man, this is so us.
Yeah.
Wow. But you know, you're faced with things that no human being ever has to face. This is the stuff that you take in an ethics class, deciding in the hypothetical abstract of life. But in real life, in these things, these are the horror stories you hear about. You never actually have to face them. It's so surreal to have to even consider that
You
this is
just
going
wish you
on.
have someone to consult with. Like they send these messages. The guy that's in charge of something in the kibbutz sent a message to all the people. Listen, they're burning down houses to try to get you out of the safe room. If they're burning your house, don't leave the safe room.
Stay inside.
Yeah, like protocol for safety. I mean, you're in a survival mode. There are no right
There's
or wrong
no
answers.
protocol for anything.
And there's no wrong answers. You're under duress.
No, he wrote, stay in the safe room. It's better to get a little burned than to be caught by Hamas or something like this. Or they sent a message that they said the IDF is going to bomb, the Air Force is going to bomb the kibbutz. So stay put
Stay in the safe room, don't get out.
Because we're coming
And
for
then, remember, we look into each other, it's like, what we're supposed to do when the Air Force is bombing the kibbutz.
Yeah.
So you realize...
Where did you get that information from? Who's putting those messages
I
out?
don't know, we got an SMS from the
an
people
SMS.
from the kibbutz.
Yeah.
like an official SMS.
Wow.
And are you like lie to yourselves in that moment? Are you like denying it? Like they're not burning anything down.
First,
like,
again, you're
the
blind.
coping.
You don't
Yeah.
there's a lot of things. There are a lot of things that now you think over,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh, okay, so they said this because of that. For example, the bombing the kibbutz. Back then, we didn't think, again, the amount of the soldiers or the terrorists, or the fact that they can't get control on the kibbutz, so they must bomb.
I was in
You know, it's
complete
like-
denial. They kept on like, I forwarded the messages that everybody wrote, and I remember looking at the messages. Like some girl wrote, "They murdered my parents." Someone wrote, like the people that said about dying people, and I was forwarding it, and I was thinking, why is everyone so exaggerating? Like, help is
I
on
think
the way.
the
You
shock-
don't need to
the help will get to
exaggerate.
everyone in the end.
Right.
Guys, it's okay.
Your
One by
psyche
one.
is
So you're
telling you
giving
this
yourself
can't be
hope
real.
and,
It's
like,
that
yeah.
point. It's that
Yeah.
it's that much of a nightmare that it's just a nightmare.
And also, I was telling to myself, like at one point, they said, "Okay, don't worry. Now the IDF is in the kibbutz. We have the van here. That's a very special unit." Said, "Okay, we're safe now. That's it. We can we're fine. Everything's gonna be okay." And I really think I was in a mode like, I believe nothing is gonna happen to us. Everything will be okay. So, like,
At what point
if-
did that become a reality
That
that
makes
you felt
sense.
safe to leave? At what point did it feel like, okay, it's over?
There was no point.
just when we were out,
Just on the way out.
not even on the way out. When
You
we
know
were
what?
out.
Even when we got around evening 8:30, we got the phone call from the same guy, from Maya's friend, that he told us that the twins are safe and they've been rescued. So we asked him, "What about Adani Tai?" And he told us his answer was they're not on the abducted list. And I remember us
We're happy.
they're not on the abducted list. We didn't even think what he's not telling us.
Yeah. He wrote to his family, "Don't worry, we checked. They're not on the abducted list." Like something like this.
Can you just, in the sequence of events, just to follow it, so you decided to stay together and you stayed put, but how did they get rescued at the end, like the twins?
So we've learned it only later. So
Around
around
that.
20 minutes, around the 20 minutes, half an hour after he told us that the twins are safe, my brother rang me and told us that it's confirmed that Adai Tai are dead because he is living in Tel Aviv. And once he realized that he can't help physically in the kibbutz, he opened some kind of an operation room. And basically, he got into all the WhatsApp groups of the armed forces in the kibbutz and connected between the people, the messages and the people from the WhatsApp groups in the kibbutz to the WhatsApp groups of the armed forces that were in the kibbutz. And only afterwards we've learned that, like I went out to bring the dogs because I thought it's only rockets.
Early in the morning.
So Hadar, when it started, also realized that they're going to be stuck in the safe room for an hour or two till we can jump on the cars and leave. So she went out in her pajamas to get rid of the diapers and to make bottles to the twins. And they found her in her pajamas, lying on the kitchen's floor with 2 bottles in her hands. They saw her from the kitchen's window, her kitchen's window facing the street.
Mm-hmm.
And they saw her. We've been in the house a few weeks later, and we saw all the bullet holes, which tells basically all the story of what happened. And they shot her through the window. They got inside, shot her again to make sure that she's dead. Itai, her husband, closed the shutters door behind him with the twins after probably he saw and heard what happened to his wife. And also there, we saw 3 bullets in the safe room door.
They shot him through the safe
They
room.
shot him through the safe room door. It's very important to say that they had 2 cribs, one in front of the door and one on the side. And luckily, it was smart enough to put both of the twins in the side crib, because 2 bullets hit him in the body, and the third one hit the crib in front of the door. They got inside and into the safe room, and they shot him to make sure that he's dead, just next to the twins. And again, the safe room is like maybe 2/3 of the size of this room. So first, there is no way they didn't see the twins, and second, imagine the noise of And basically, the terrorists stayed in the apartment next to the 2 bodies and next to 2 screaming twins that were only with their diapers, with no food, no water, no milk, no nothing, for 14 hours, and used them as bait.
The terrorists stayed in that house. They went in and out of the house.
So when people people would come to try to rescue the twins, and they would shoot.
And a lot of people
were killed.
So it's not that they saved them for like
shot at
humanitarian reasons or anything like that.
And you were right also about staying put. That was the
No, there's no way you would have made it. There were terrorists.
So they let them cry out to bait people to come rescue them so they could shoot more Israelis.
And it was very complicated to rescue them, because usually when you get into a house or a room with terrorists, you're not knocking on the door.
Yeah.
And
knowing that
now you have 2 babies there. You can't use all your force to come in. So they told us about the babies, and I think a few minutes after, Dvir's brother called and told us about Hadar and Itai, that it's been confirmed that they're dead.
We're sold. Who were the ones who rescued them in the end? Who neutralized the terrorists?
It was a combined force of the Shabak and Golani.
Wow.
Unfortunately.
And so you were in your safe room while they
all of us,
rescued the twins.
all of the family, each one in his own safe room, in his own house.
All of the family was in the safe room, and by that time, like, it was already around 8-9, so we were already for about 14 hours in the safe room.
It's PM, 9 PM Saturday night?
Yeah. Saturday night. It all started 6:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And by that time, we lost contact with another one of Dvir's sister that also has 3 kids.
2 of them.
2 of them that each has 3 kids.
And we knew that in both houses, the terrorists were inside, threw grenades, shot all over.
And we didn't have contact with them until we got rescued about 30 hours after. So we actually thought we were going to get... Sounds funny I'm saying that, but we thought we were going to get...
Even worse
news.
Yeah.
Like, we were...
And if we were talking about hard decisions, I remember that we told Inbar, my brother, not to say anything to my parents, because we knew that they lost contact with 3 of their daughters. We didn't have a lot of batteries, so probably like in an hour or so, they're going to lose contact with us as well. And
they're still in the
safe room. And we wanted them to keep fighting, not to lose hope. So we didn't even tell anything to our parents. And
I remember when we got the news about Hadar and Itai, because again, denial worked hard that day. So until we got the news, we kept on thinking everything, just not that. Like we say, we have a very big feeling, it doesn't look good, whatever, but we didn't say the exact words. And then when they told us about them, I think we cried for like a minute or two. But again, we're still in the safe room with our baby in the middle of a battlefield. Everything is crazy. Everything is burning around. So we just stopped crying.
We didn't have the luxury, to freeze or to give up.
Stop.
Or to stop, or to, like
or
we
to
have
confront the grief. You had to be.
We have our baby to take care of.
No, first thing, it wasn't even confront the grief. Now there's 2 babies. We're not in touch with the other sisters. We don't know where's the babies. So the first thing we had to do is to start looking for the babies. Dvir's brother and sister that were in Tel Aviv and us, they started all to call to hospitals because everything was chaos. So you had to find the babies. And
no one knew where they took them.
So sorry, I just have a logistical question. Maybe are you confused also? So you're still in the safe room and you get the information about Idan and Itai and the babies. So the babies are safe, but you still can't leave the safe room. It's still not safe to leave for everybody.
No, we were stuck in the safe room still.
All of us, even though some houses had been rescued.
Yeah.
And you had confirmed that they had been killed by your brother in Tel Aviv.
Yeah.
Is that what had happened?
Also,
but you hadn't left, so because he was in Tel Aviv, in touch with
the
defense
IDF.
forces.
But just so you'll understand about your question.
Yeah.
They rescued the twins in an armed vehicle. The twins' neighbors that helped the IDF and helped them and they even gave them clothes for the twins and everything. Yeah. They told them, thank you so much for your help. Now we're sorry, but you need to stay at home because there's not enough room in the armed vehicle to take you out. So they took out the twins and they left the neighbors, which were still there with their family, with everything. They just left them there because they couldn't rescue everyone at once. It took a very long time. The last people that were rescued alive were our friends, and I think it was only 2
afternoon.
2 afternoon the next day. We were
So even at night, and as it's evening, everyone's still in their safe rooms. Batteries are drained. They're not in touch. They don't want to tell their parents anything. But you had confirmed that the babies were safe. But you're still in your safe room.
And there's like a battle between the IDF and the terrorists going on around you.
Yeah.
Okay.
a battle between the terrorists and the IDF and a massacre going on.
Right.
People were still getting killed. People were still
The kibbutz had not been cleared. It was not safe to go out.
The kibbutz wasn't cleared until
Tuesday afternoon.
Yeah, I don't think I understood that. I don't think I ever understood
There
that.
were hundreds of terrorists in our kibbutz. And just the whole kibbutz is about 900 people.
Yeah.
So you can see, it was hundreds.
So,
it took them...
and also they took good positions. They stood on the roofs. They went to places that it was very hard for the IDF to fight them.
Because you don't want to hurt anyone or kill anyone of the civilians.
Yes.
And you can't drop bombs.
So
and you can't.
They're having a battle. The Israeli Defense Forces is fighting Hamas amongst all the members of the kibbutz who are trapped in their safe rooms, and Hamas is positioned everywhere.
Yeah.
Imagine this neighborhood, okay?
Yeah. Yes. Of course.
That's the situation. This neighborhood, and you have terrorists all over the neighborhood.
Right. Crazy.
And they dressed as soldiers, so you don't even know who's who.
And they spoke perfect
They
Hebrew.
spoke perfect Hebrew.
They dressed as Israeli soldiers.
They knocked on
Israeli
people's
soldiers?
houses' doors and spoke in Hebrew, and also, in some stage, we realized that on the WhatsApp groups of the kibbutz, people that we knew are dead were answering in Hebrew.
So someone had taken their phones.
Exactly.
They sent locations.
They sent
At
locations.
some point, the Dvir's brother actually, he said, stop sending locations because the terrorists sent locations of dead people from dead people's phone, and they ambushed the forces. So they moved on to using a different.
Or either followed followed the locations.
Yeah. So Hamas terrorists are in your WhatsApp group as a way to try to bait soldiers and people to come.
Wow.
After everything happened, by the order of the IDF, I think, all the WhatsApp group of the kibbutz were closed, and they opened a new WhatsApp groups.
Right.
So when the IDF eventually came in, how did you know it was them and it was okay?
We didn't. I don't know if we were tired. There was no air. We didn't sleep for quite a few nights because like I said, we just came back from a trip, and it was a night of a flight.
Also, I
And
think we were pretty depressed at some point.
so we're not sure if we just fell asleep or passed out, but the bottom line is
We
We
didn't
op-
have any connection to
we
that.
opened our eyes.
Were your phones dead at this point?
Yeah.
So you were just
Around-
like, if it is what it is, I'm going outside.
12, like around 12 at night, I think. We already knew about Adar and Itai. We lost connection with others in the family. We had no more batteries. We kept on hearing what's going outside. We felt...
I think we're still awake, still up, and saw the hour somehow around 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
But the next thing is that we opened our eyes. All three of us are lying on the floor, and we opened our eyes, and we had weapons in our faces, but straight away we heard Hebrew, so we understood that it's
When you
there are
went, I'm sorry,
soldiers.
I missed that. You went outside, or you were
No,
in your safe
No,
room?
in our safe
And then
room.
you woke up to weapons in your face,
Yeah.
but it was Hebrew.
We fell asleep at around 3, I think. And we just woke up with soldiers above us.
And they took us. We thought they came to rescue us. Apparently, they didn't have enough armed vehicles, so they gave us 2 minutes to pack. And you see soldiers, you think that this is it, it's over, but you still hear shooting around everywhere. And every time that one of us came to pick up something next to a window, it's like, oh no, duck, don't.
You're still in a battlefield.
Yeah.
And
Active battlefield.
and they took us to a place that was 50 meters maybe from our home.
Is
to a
this
different
Tuesday
place.
already? Is
No,
on
this
Tuesday?
is Sunday.
This is Sunday.
This is Sunday early in the morning.
Like 5:30 in the morning.
5:30 the next day. So this whole thing began Saturday early morning. You're all the way through Saturday night. Now early Sunday morning, soldiers
Yeah.
are in your safe room,
And it took
and they're
it took-
trying to get you out.
and it took them. They were, this way you can jump on one leg. I don't know, and you do it in 2-3 minutes.
Yeah.
It took us almost 20 minutes to get there, because every few steps I held Ziv, Maya held the stupid dog that saved our lives. Without
have to love
I didn't want to ask what happened to the dog, but
without don't
you're
worry,
safe.
both of them are
You
still with
threw 'em.
us. And one of the soldiers held the big dog, and every few steps it just pushed us to the ground.
wow.
He said, get down.
You're hearing
They were-
bullets. You're hearing.
Yeah, the bullets were still flying around, and
And you're carrying a baby in your hand, okay?
and then we stayed in this
So you
place.
kicked the dog, but the dog was
No, but like I said, both of them are
He's a
still
good
with
dog,
us.
The dogs were...
I feel like you got a soft spot for this dog, even though he's a pain. He's a good dog.
I can send him to here if you want.
Oh
No,
my
but the
God.
dogs were like... They stopped living for 24 hours. I don't know how to
Yeah.
explain what happened with
Not
the
even a
dogs.
single bark, nothing.
They were just...
There was a
Nothing.
survival mode that just permeated the whole kibbutz. It's like this weird.
And
this energy.
No, the big dog had a moment that she made some noise inside the house, but the other dog was just...
Yeah, we kind of sacrificed her. We've put her in between the front door and the safe room, closed like in this room,
Yeah.
because we knew that they are afraid of dogs. So if they'll come in, they'll shoot her, and then we'll know they're inside.
It's obvious that they would have shot her
Right.
because she's a threat, even
Right.
if they're not scared or think...
Yeah.
And also we do know that they killed a lot of dogs just out of no reason. Just burnt dogs, killed dogs.
They took us to a place that, if we're talking about small houses, or we were 19 people in 2-bedroom apartment of one of the students in the kibbutz.
That's where they took you as a rescue,
Yeah.
like as for
So
safety.
it's like 19 of us. We were the only one with a baby, and another, I don't know how many soldiers that were in the.
There was a girl with a cat there, right? Somebody had a
yeah,
cat,
yeah.
and we had our 2 dogs. Like
You know that
coming back to me.
they skipped, like when the soldiers cleared our neighborhood. They missed us twice apparently, and my brother from Tel Aviv.
The soldiers had missed you.
Yeah,
you think?
because they
Trying to find
didn't
you?
know how to get to our house.
Right.
And I was another thing that might help us to stay alive or not to. They didn't see the entrance to our balcony. Is that I was a bit lazy, and I didn't fold up the winter clothes, like you close.
We had like a winter closing of the.
That's what you fought about in the safe room. You didn't fold up the winter clothes.
No.
Thank
So,
God he was lazy.
so,
Yeah.
so my brother,
So it obstructed
my
the
brother
view?
actually from Tel Aviv
It
sent them
looked
twice.
A warehouse,
what?
maybe.
To get,
He said what? Your
he
brother?
sent them twice.
The soldiers
Oh.
To get them
to our house, and eventually, one of his friends, again a civilian, one of his friends from the kibbutz volunteered to show them where our house is, or how
At
to
the
get in.
Bing.
Yeah, how to get into our house.
We'll forever be
Thankful to him.
thankful
Yeah,
to him. He just like risked his life, got out, a young guy.
just
Just
told
he
him
said
put your gear on me and I'll show you
He
the.
just told them, I'll take you there. And he just took, under fire, he went out with the soldiers. He was already in a safe place.
Oh, wow.
He'd been through enough at that point, and he just took them to our house.
And this was so you had been in the safe room for 24 hours. How long?
And
was that?
and another 5 hours in the
other house.
2-bedroom apartment, and only at 10:30 in the morning on Sunday, they came to take us out of the kibbutz, and that was the first time we actually saw on a daylight not all the kibbutz, but the pickup trucks, the Toyota Hilux that the terrorists came with, and other cars that got either bombed or people got shot, bodies, house on fires. You smell everything. You started to see what happened during the night, and also this was under in the middle of combat, because again they took us out on Sunday morning, and the combat finished in the kibbutz only at Tuesday afternoon at 5:30 in the afternoon.
And at what point when you actually saw everything in the daylight, what day was that?
Sunday.
Sunday.
Had
We
you
got
heard,
out of the kibbutz Sunday morning.
Had you heard about hostages yet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you knew while you were in the safe room, you knew that was
We knew
happening.
there's hostages.
We didn't again, it was like in a fog of like
War.
I said, a fog of war, but
Yeah.
and some names we've heard. It was the opposite. We heard about the wife, and in the end, it was the husband.
No, but we knew there's
But we knew that there are
Yeah, that was
hostages. It's
happening.
not hostages, by the way.
Yeah, we don't-
hostages,
We don't like to
The
use
term.
the
Why
word.
don't you like the term? Yeah.
because what is a hostage? Hostage is a soldier that went into a battle, and
was captured during battle.
Yeah.
So what term do you prefer?
He's a kidnapped
they're
people.
kidnapped.
Kidnapped,
They
yeah.
kidnap them from their beds with their pajamas or boxers or whatever while they were sleeping, or not. But it's not. Those are civilians.
Yeah.
Just
Okay.
Does it?
we're in their houses.
In English, do we think of Do you think of soldiers only when you hear hostage? Being held
Yeah,
hostage.
I think of hostage as someone that's used to like trade, like
For
they're being
political
held
purposes.
for like a reason to negotiate
Yeah.
with. That's the English word that I
Okay.
think of.
So the Hebrew word.
but
is,
I don't think
uh,
for American audiences or the American population, it diminishes just how inhumane it is.
In Hebrew,
but
in
in
Hebrew, there's a different word.
word.
There's shavui,
Yeah.
which is like a hostage, a soldiers that hostage, and there's chatuf,
Yeah.
and we say chatufim.
So I think it's here. It would translate to prisoners. If they were to be called prisoners,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that would be a misnomer that I would
Yeah.
take offense to in the same
Okay.
way you are.
Okay.
Because people who say, "Oh, it's prisoner exchange," the people who hate Israel and want to dehumanize all the Israelis and Jews involved in this, they want to call them prisoners as if they've done something wrong.
Yeah.
They've committed a crime.
Like a 1-year-old baby.
Hostage is like a
prisoner.
tactic.
Okay.
They've kidnapped children and elderly people and all these and are holding them hostage. But yeah, I get your point
Yeah,
that
like
it's important to be precise.
A shvuyim would probably be a prisoner of war, is what we'd say
Yeah,
in
shvuyim.
English. Which is I haven't heard anyone say that in English. A
And
prisoner
people
of
make
war.
these distinctions, and I think they try to do this.
But for us, it's
these are
something that
kidnapped
it bothers us because you can't treat those civilians that were. The only crime was that they were Jewish, living in Israel.
Not only Jewish,
Not only Jewish, by the way.
Muslims, Thailand,
Philippines. They were just like people that lived in their eyes on the wrong side of the border. It's not that people that did anything or were were a threat to them or
they have
combatants.
a 1-year-old baby.
Yeah.
they. And the Hamas promised them like an apartment and 10,000 shekels or dollars or whatever for each Israeli that they will bring with them. So it's not only the few thousand terrorists that crossed that day, it's thousands of civilians from Gaza that crossed the border either to kidnap people, to kidnap whatever they could,
To loot.
put things on fire,
To do destruction.
I'm not saying all of them, because you can't. It doesn't matter where and on what subject, you can't put everyone in the same spot or accusations. But that day kind of clarified us that it was something else, because it wasn't only the Hamas and it wasn't only against the IDF. I was a soldier. Maya was a soldier. There is like kind of contract that you kind of sign when you put the uniforms on yourself, that this is your job now, okay? And it can be, sometimes it can be hard, or you can get injured or die, but this is your job.
You take that risk a little.
Yeah. When it gets to civilians, especially people, like elderly people, babies, women, pregnant women, that, just were sleeping in their houses, there's some kind of a border that's been crossed. And
I want to say, first of all, we're private people, okay? So we don't, everything is our own opinion. Nothing is, of course, there's a lot of innocent people in Gaza, like there's a lot of innocent people in Israel. And I do believe that there's a lot of people, even after all that's happened, and yes, I admit it's difficult to say what I'm saying after seeing the images that we've seen of people parading dead bodies and kidnap people into Gaza, and of people coming into our kibbutz just to cause destruction and death and everything. But I do believe there's lots of innocent people there. And I believe that most of the people want the same thing as we want. They want to come home, live safe, grow their kids, feed them, secure them, provide them, and that's what they want. I do believe that if you raise someone on hate, he will grow up to be full of hate, and I think this is what happened here. I think Hamas has been in power for way, way too long, and it's a vicious terror organization, and that's the result of that. I think their main victim is the Palestinian people that are suffering very much from all that they're doing, including now. I'm very sorry for all the casualties that they have, but I do think that the IDF does whatever it can. I think it's the army that does the most in the whole world to prevent casualties of civilians, and Hamas is the one that causes their civilians to be hurt. And I do hope that after this war ends, that we won't have Hamas anymore, and there will be someone there that you can talk to that will want the same thing. And I do believe, I hope that after everything that happened, we will maybe all understand that there was enough cruelty, there was enough destruction, there was enough death, and now no one is going anywhere. We'll stay here, they'll stay there, and we'll just need to do something to live along and to live in peace with one another. This is what I want to believe.
Have there been any Israeli Arabs or Palestinians that you've known over the years in Israel that have reached out to people you know, or relationships you've had who, people, there were stories about the Nova Festival about Israeli Arab citizens who were trying to rescue people who were executed by Hamas. I don't think people don't understand that when they, especially the people here.
I think there are so many stories, and people all over the world need to give a stage to those people. The Bedouins,
Yosef Haddad can't do it all by himself.
Yeah,
we need more.
It's either Bedouins or Israeli Israeli Muslims. Or
also Muslim politicians, also Arab Israeli politicians that came out very strongly condemning what Hamas have done.
At first they had a lot of casualties themselves. Second, people risked their life for other Israelis, doesn't matter if Jewish or not, without even to think of on their lives. And there are it's amazing.
Just went out and saved people. Like they just went on their cars and saved people, and they got abducted on the way. They got murdered on the way. On our delegation, we were with a Bedouin guy, and his whole family was abducted in Nachalos. No, in Cholit. a father, son, and father and his three sons.
Father,
and his two sons and a
daughter, and two sons.
And they're looked at as collaborators. They're either looked at as Jews that need to be.
No, they didn't care.
They didn't care.
Hamas
He said,
Hamas didn't care.
the guy that was with us said, no one could have been mistaken. These are Muslims.
The
woman had a cover to her head. They spoke only Arabic, and they took them.
In our kibbutz, it was like this old lady, old woman that got shot in her safe room, along with their Filipino. She was
who worked for them.
Yeah.
Indiscriminately killed anyone.
There's videos that they're kidnapping Thai people and beheading Thai people, and you see it's someone from Thailand. Like you can't and they're all living. The Thai people living together in the workers area. Like they know it's.
I think you need to give more stage to those people that gave and did everything and paid the ultimate price, or their family did, in order to help us and the people from the Nova Festival. I think, maybe people, it doesn't do any good for what they want to say or show. But it's so important. It's so important to give them the respect and the stage for what they did, because those people, just like the civilians or just like the soldiers that jumped in and did whatever they could to help, and because of them, a lot of people are still alive. And I think the media doesn't show it enough. I just want to say that in our kibbutz, that day we lost 63 people, 63 members, friends, family. Our close family, we lost my sister, Hadar, and Itai, her husband, and also Yahav, which is my cousin. My mother's brother lives in the kibbutz also with his wife and 3 out of his 4 kids. Yahav was a very new father. He lived with Shaili, his wife, and Shaya, their 3 weeks daughter, 3 weeks old. And the terrorist came to open his window, the safe room window, and he fought with them for a long time. And once he realized that there's no way he can beat them, he basically sacrificed himself, so his wife could run away. Almog's brother, by the way, Almog was here with you. So they can run away, and they shot Yav in the back, and he gave his life so his wife and his daughter will live. 18 people got kidnapped from our kibbutz. 11 of them came back to us. Unfortunately, if you heard about the 3 hostages, kidnapped people, and the IDF shot them accidentally. So 2 of them were from our kibbutz. So now we have 65 dead. And we still have 136 people in Gaza, that 5 of them are from our kibbutz. One of them is one of my best childhood friends, father, which is American citizen, Keith Siegel. He's from North Carolina. He came to the kibbutz as a volunteer, fell in love and stayed. We have the twins, brothers, Gali and Zivi, where they are 26 years old. We have the 2 girls, Doron Steinbecher, she's 30 years old. And we have Emily Damari, she's 27 years old. The reason we came here to the States in the first place was for that. We came on a delegation to Washington, to meet with people in the Congress and the Senate. And I think the most important thing right now is to keep the awareness.
To bring them back.
Mm-hmm.
That's the most important thing. And to do whatever everyone can to bring them back. That's why we couldn't just sit home and like we felt like it's just by luck that we're sitting here and other people are sitting there. Like our house, nobody came into, but the house right behind us, and these are, if you've been in a kibbutz, you would have known the houses are very close. The house right behind us is burned to the ground. You see, like, here someone was taken and here everyone's okay. Here someone is murdered and here everyone okay. Like, the random of things is crazy. So we feel like we could have been somewhere else now. So it's everyone needs to do whatever they need to do, whatever they can.
You know, I'll say that, like, my blood boils when I start, because I am involved a lot in just like consuming all this American media stuff and putting stuff out about Israel. And I know that, unfortunately, like, people are going to watch this. There are people out there, low-life human beings, who are going to watch this whole testimony and still write the same gross comments. They're still going to write, they're still going to say resistance by any means necessary. They're going to say the most atrocious, depraved things. I wonder, in your case, given that you've dealt with this in such a personal way and experienced this firsthand, do you even have time to process any of that noise? Or is it just focused on the mission at hand? Because for me, I hear that and people are starting to dispute what happened on this day, and you're telling us firsthand. This isn't a news story you're reporting to us.
If someone is racist, he's racist.
Mm-hmm. Or stupid.
Yeah. No, I want to say what I'm saying. If someone is racist, he's racist. Mm-hmm. I won't speak to people who are racist if they hate Jews, or if they hate Arabs, or if they hate people of color. I don't know. These are people I'm not interested in speaking to. And I think a lot of the people that you're relating to are people who are just racist. Mm-hmm. So if you're anti-Semitic or anti-anything else, I don't care whatever you have to say. Mm-hmm. If you're just talking out of lack of knowledge, I hope what we're saying will help you understand a bit more. Because for me, like, watching all the pro-Palestinian protesters that are sitting there and talking and protesting for Hamas.
For Hamas, literally.
I feel like they don't understand what they're doing, because the Hamas first victim are the Palestinian people. Mm-hmm. We've seen the trucks that went into Gaza every day. We've seen before October 7. Mm-hmm. We've seen all the supplies they got. We've seen all the money they got. We live there, right? Mm-hmm. We see the road blocked from trucks.
You didn't read an article about it. You see it.
Hamas took all the funds and all the equipment that was sent into Gaza and used it to build war, to build the under Gaza, to pay for the October 7 massacre. And even now that the humanitarian aid is being put into Gaza, they're taking it. Yeah. They're shooting people. They're killing people who are trying to take food for their families. When they're using the Palestinian people as human shields. Mm-hmm. They're shooting from civilian neighborhoods, from schools, from hospitals. They're just taking over everything. And if you hear the voices that are coming out of Gaza, they also don't want Hamas there anymore. They don't blame Israel. They blame Hamas. Mm-hmm. So I'm just like, I would want people to know their facts, to get their facts. Again, if you're racist, you're racist. Mm-hmm. I have nothing to do with that. But if you don't know your facts, I would suggest you to go and get your facts.
Right. There's something, I agree with you completely. Like, you don't engage with people like that, but there is something contagious about those ideas, those narratives that get put out there. And then unknowing people are like, but wait, like, what's going on? Like, you talk to the average person and they don't want to take a side. They're like, I don't know, it's complicated. That all stems from this idea of these lies that are put out there, that I don't want to engage with the liars themselves who are in bad faith. But it's like, if you would hear a story like yours and you don't know where you stand, then I think you're not redeemable.
Yeah, I mean, even you're not. I think people now dispute sort of, which is, I think, so sick. They dispute the extent of the atrocity. Mm-hmm. Like, yes, there was rape and there's all these things, but it's not as much as they're saying, and like that's their point. It's not as much. Like, even when you guys speak, like you didn't mention any like awful tragedy that we can't even like put online, but just the terror that you experienced as a family.
But you see what's happening?
Is so effective.
But we've just told you a story about two families that one family, two parents were murdered in front of their 10-month-old babies.
Yeah.
And they were left there next to their dead bodies. And because we've heard so much horrors, you're saying to me, these are not something that are so bad, because we've heard things that are so, like, this is to us, like,
You want to walk that back, Michael, a little bit?
our
or,
limit,
what do you
our
wanna do?
limit.
I know what you mean.
I'm not saying it. I'm not
I meant
saying
Not, it's not against
It's,
you.
it does
against
illustrate
you.
how
You're right.
how the
No.
conversation has been tainted.
You're right.
It's not against you. It's just like we've heard so, like, I know exactly what you meant and you're fine. Don't worry. I'm just trying to
Door over there, Mikey. Right there. I'll finish
like,
it up in here.
This is one of the stories that for me, it's like, it's a horrible story. If, like what we always say, it's if there was only one story, just one family, this would have been like completely shocking. And how could this happen? And but because there's so many, we're looking at this story and say, oh, okay, but they didn't behead the baby's head, so like
It becomes such an abundance of atrocity that you're desensitized, and all of a sudden you start to put it in these categories. Just now at baseline, none of them are disputing that all these Jews and Israelis were murdered.
because we're the same.
If it was just that, are you mean to tell me that if it was just that, it's okay? If I found out if it's verified that Hamas in fact did set them on fire too, then I'll be against Hamas. But just murder, I'm cool with.
We're in the same bed because we were also like, we were relieved to find out that Adar and Itai were whole and they were dressed and everything. So like, okay, so thank God.
For that to give you
they
relief.
Were only,
Yeah.
They were
You
only
know that Zaka
murdered.
came to my parents
Like,
just to give them the
Assurance.
relief
Yeah.
and told them first to say hi and to see what's going on with the twins and everything, but to tell them that Adar's and Itai's bodies were
Intact.
they were like they were still were dressed and a whole body. It's fucked up.
No,
it's
they
fine.
they
Like-
terrorized us. You know,
Yeah.
we're messed up in
so
the head
it's
now.
crazy.
It's-
And this is what I'm always saying. Like, I want to talk. I think the thing that bothered me the most, talking about ignorance, and was the people from universities, the heads of universities, the professors, that said, how did they say it?
The context.
It depends on the context.
Yeah.
I want to sit down with that woman or women that spoke like that, and I want to tell them our story. And I want to ask them, please educate me. What context justifies this act? What context justifies the horrible crime that just our family? I'm not talking about the 1,400 dead people. Just our family. Please, maybe there's something we don't know. Maybe.
I also saw on many videos, that people came to, people all over these protests and asked them very simple question.
Mm-hmm.
What if it was you? Or what if it was your mother or child in Gaza? What would you do? And suddenly people are, oh, wait. So if it's like that, I might do this. I might say that. Like, so what are you doing here?
Yeah.
You had
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So just put yourself in my shoes.
Yeah.
I'm not saying now politics or anything like that. Just the way you look at things. Just the way you do things. Just to the way you say things. Look, we have the whole privilege to be, to talk or to act like the worst people that we can't stand. And still we think of how things should be done, what we hope to accomplish. Because we know the facts and we don't think or see ourselves beyond anyone. And when you see those people that doesn't know anything, doesn't care about anything, doesn't read or ask or it can sometimes drives you crazy. And then you have two options: to ignore them or to lose your mind. And we've been through enough. We're not going to lose our minds over it.
Right.
Amen. Has your experience in the States through this bringing awareness, going around, overall, we witnessed some of the worst elements of humanity come out across the world. not just in the actions of Hamas, but in the support that it's enjoyed in the West. But overall, are you encouraged? Are you discouraged? You've been to Washington, you've met with leaders, you've met with people, you've been to different communities. Is your overall sense is that the good people of the world will outweigh the negative forces?
I think that we are 100% encouraged.
I agree.
We've met amazing people, amazing communities, not only the Jewish communities, I have to say, and we've met amazing people. People are doing above and beyond, going to Israel, helping, donating clothes and money and
Just helping in any way
toys,
they can.
and it's not only money wise, and
People are
coming to listen to
They're
us.
telling us, just tell us, what can we do? How we just want to do something? Can we people
And
just
You
want
said
to
not
help.
only Jewish communities, what
Not
other
only
communities
Jewish
surprised
communities,
you?
a lot of Jewish communities, but not only them. And I have to say that it's amazing, and we felt it when we were in Israel, and we feel it here when we are here now. And the amount of the people that we hear that went to Israel on missions and went to the kibbutzim to help, or just to the farmers to help, or to visit the wounded soldiers, or just be with their families, and it's amazing, and we're so thankful. I have one thing to say, and again, I'm so thankful for what everyone did so far. I want to ask people just to realize that it's going to be a long, long, long way, and there's no way we will be able to do it on our own, and we need and we will need your help. Just understand that it's going to be a long process to everyone, and the help, I hope that we'll feel and see the help also in the long term.
Well, you are always welcome here to share the story and keep everybody's memories alive.
And I do just have one last question. Where are the twins now that were rescued?
The twins are right now with my sister, and like all of the family, all of the families are helping. Everyone are there. They are with the same community and the same people they've been before, in the daycare, with the cousins. They're happy, they're healthy.
Great.
And this is my sister's and her husband legacy, and we're doing everything we can to keep on doing whatever they did on the way that they did things.
Which is hard because they did everything perfect.
Perfect.
They were. No, but they are surrounded with love.
Yeah.
Great.
Well, we'll dedicate this episode and this conversation to their memory. We say their names one more time.
Hadar and Itai,
Hadar and
and
Bardichevsky.
Bardichevsky, and Yahav Wiener.
You are welcome here anytime along the way, as this is going to be a long haul, and we're going to be here for it, and keeping the awareness to keep our people strong and our country strong.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us here at Ami's house.
Thank you so much. Really.
Thank you.
Am Yisrael Chai.